Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today. I'm Mel Rose, and I'm here to share your daily aspects. Today is Thursday, March 17, 2022, and the sun is in Pisces for just a few more days. Pisces, right here, is a mutable water sign, which symbolically indicates emotions and intuitive and creative flows in flux or in motion. Changeable waters, so to say, open to influence, playful in their way, and fun to play around with. Jupiter and Neptune have been here expanding the flow of these energies, and Uranus has been very active in the pursuit of change. We have to be on our toes to traverse these waters, but who can resist the urge to see what's on the other side? Just a few days now until the sun makes ingress to Aries and our attention is drawn toward taking action and moving boldly forward. Enjoy this frolic and rest and play while you can. And the full moon, the nearly full moon in Virgo tonight, invites us to organize and make repairs. We get our emotional satisfaction at this time from helping others out and generally trying to set things right. So today is the day before the full moon technically, and I want to say that the full moon actually happens at 2:17 a.m. tomorrow morning. So if you're one of those people who likes to stay up and catch the culmination of the full moon, catch it at its fullest point, you probably want to stay up late tonight and see that at 2:17 in the morning tomorrow morning. But at this point, we have really put in a lot of the work. We're still sort of taking action, tying up loose ends, which is another Pisces theme, and also beginning to celebrate what we have achieved, attained, how close we have brought ourselves to our intentions and goals, and really just celebrate the heart and the home and our attachments here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get into the aspects, but I do want to remind you that there is a key on the side here. Almost all of the symbols that are on the page today are also in the legend. So if you want a word or a name that goes with a symbol, check over here. It's probably over here. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and discuss it all as we go. And I've divided the page into two columns otherwise, one for each of our luminaries. So the moon sheds light on our inner lives, and the aspects and transits that happen here have a lot to do with the inner life. Those are those things that we think, feel, know, and intuit, what it's like to be in our body, hearts, and minds, and also what it's like for us to be at home and who those people are that are at home with us. These transits and aspects are relatively brief, and again, they have more of an impact, an energetic impact on, those things we think, feel, know, and intuit. The sun, on the other hand, sheds light on the outer life, and this is who we are out in the world, sort of when we're in our workspace or when we're, let's say, in our civic space or social space. Then, that's the kind of part of us that is interfacing with the rest of the world. That's the public face of your inner self. And we discuss the sun's aspects and all the other planets' aspects on this side because they have more to do with how we interact out in the world, and they tend to be longer than these lunar aspects. And we start with the sun side of the page today, friends. Central Standard Time. At 7:13 a.m., Mercury makes a sextile with Uranus, and I've talked about this probably a little bit over the last couple of days, and I'm kind of excited about it because, we had Pisces and we've had Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces the whole time the sun has been in Pisces, and then Mercury just came in a few days ago, sort of adding a little bit of color and a little bit of imagination to our thoughts and plans and communications, perhaps a little bit at a disadvantage on our ability to be direct and say exactly what we mean, but the creative influence is there in our intellect, and that's very good. Now we see that Mercury makes this sextile relationship with Uranus. Uranus, of course, has been in a sextile relationship with Jupiter here. So both of these are making the same aspect with the same planet. And you see coming up here on Sunday, they will be conjunct. So they're in the same place together pretty much at the same time. And Mercury sextile Uranus. So Uranus is our planet for shakeups and wake-ups, those things that sort of wake us up, those things that happen that sort of wake us up to changes and shifts that we can make in our day-to-day, especially with Mercury here, our day-to-day thoughts, plans, and communications, to bring us closer to our goals or to, being the person we'd like to express ourselves as being. So this is a detour from the day-to-day. This is really like, here's your daily stuff, especially your thoughts, plans, and communications. And this is like, yep, we're going to make some changes. Sextile is very positive functioning. It's most auspicious, I would say. It has these energies that cooperate with one another, and so we can generate good things from that. Fresh ideas are coming in, shifting plans. We're having exciting conversations. It's a great time to make new friends, to put yourself in touch with sort of a diversity of different kinds of people who have their own thoughts, plans, and ideas, and that you can share with, so that you can have sort of a renaissance, shall we say. We can have a renaissance in our lives as we come into the spring and really start to get into the year 2022. So that's going on, and this influence is pretty direct for us for about 2 days, and then after that it's going to be less direct for us. But really pay attention to your thoughts and your ideas at this time. We're all in a very creative mode, and sometimes when we're in a creative mode, we have a lot of ideas that seem pretty wild, but we don't really consider them potentials for change. But right now, when you make a change for the better, when you make a change in the right direction, you're sort of blessed with this expansive influence that says, yeah, good things will come from that. And speaking of that, on through the 20th, we have these two ongoing aspects in the sun side of the page. And the first of them is Venus conjunct Mars. So this really brings to me like the nature of duality. When you discuss duality, you think of that sort of yin and yang figure, right? Where, they're two different shades, right? And they sort of intermingle. And what that speaks to is complementary opposites. The fact that, without darkness, light would really kind of be meaningless to us. We can't appreciate one without having the other. Venus and Mars are very much like that, because Venus is our receptive quality and Mars is our assertive quality. But with them conjunct right now, they've got this very powerful energy that says Venus is amplified, our receptive quality, what we want, and how we know how to attract it to us. Those are very strong qualities that we all have right now. And also conjunct Mars intensifies that quality of being of taking initiative, being assertive, being in pursuit, taking action to get the things that we desire. So right now, we're sort of manifesting machines. We're really able to know what we want and know how to get it. And the note that came for me while I was reflecting on it says complementary opposites in play together generate infinite potential outcomes. So, as we roll through these cycles and we experience the highs and the lows of experiences, and we experience being receptive and assertive, and we experience, desire and attainment, we grow and we change and we have more opportunities and we have more potential outcomes available to us. And it's important to remain positive and keep those partnership goals in mind, because when your eyes get opened to a broader scope of opportunities or potential outcomes, you really have to maintain the memory of, okay, what am I trying to get to here? Getting distracted is okay. And if you have a chance to make to write an even bigger story than you thought you could write before, that's awesome too. But keep your goals in mind, because again, like I said yesterday, it's not just about the material wealth that you can attain. It's really just about having a satisfying experience. And then Jupiter sextile Uranus is also a very positive functioning thing. It's been these have both been with us since about February 16th or 17th, and they'll both be with us through the spring equinox in 3 days. And then they won't be exact in their aspects anymore, and so we'll be in a post shadow of those energies where we'll still be feeling them, but we're really in the thick of it right now. We're really in the last few days, so expect these partnership themes and these duality themes to be coming up. And Jupiter, expansive, sitting in one of its home signs, Pluto, so expansive creativity. Here with the planet for shakeups and wake-ups, those shifts and changes that we're trying to make in that sextile, that positive generative energy. So fresh inspiration to make changes that reflect a grander version of ourselves. We're getting fresh inspiration up here. That's what that's about. Is Uranus is inviting more ideas and fresh inspiration and fresh desire to achieve and attain things and experiences. So that fresh inspiration to make changes can reflect a grander vision of ourselves. And when you scope that grander vision, Jupiter scopes it with you and says, yes, we can have that. Let's move in that direction. Then on the moon side of the page, at 8:44 in the morning, the moon makes an opposition to Jupiter. And then later in the afternoon, the moon makes the same aspect, but with Neptune, 6:02 p.m. So the moon is in opposition with Jupiter and Neptune today. And you see that these have been hanging out in Pisces together. So they're very close to one another. From the moon's perspective, they're about 10 hours apart. I can see possibly in the offing there being a conjunct between Jupiter and Neptune while they're in Pisces. So moon in opposition to Jupiter, it's hard to have a bad time. Like I like to say, when the moon and Jupiter get together, we feel good, we notice our growth, we feel generous and expansive. We want to share with the people that we love. But there is a warning here because of the opposition to avoid oversharing. And by that, I don't necessarily mean giving too much information about yourself, although that is something to think about as well. Oversharing in this case is really like giving too much, so that, if you give too much of yourself, the other person is going to the other person is going to realize that there's an imbalance. And if they cannot give back to the level that you're giving, they're going to feel that imbalance, and it's going to put a little wrench in the relating between you. Also, we don't want to be overbearing with our sharing. We don't want to inundate people with too much love, affection, gifts that or attention that they're not really looking for. We want to be careful not to give people unwanted attention. And there is also a warning there that, you might receive some unwanted attention. So, have a strategy for dealing with that. And then moon in opposition to Neptune. So moon and Neptune generally makes us very sensitive and very open. We can really feel the vibes of the people around us. But sometimes, because when we're feeling those vibes, it's just like when we're seeing something or hearing something, it's all filtered through, a lens of our own making that has to do with the experiences that we have had and the things that we have read and the things that we think we should expect, even if that's not realistic. So in opposition, moon in opposition with Neptune says that, not all of those hunches I have, not all of those sensitivities that make me think, oh, this might be what's happening, not all of that is going to be correct. Sometimes I fool myself. Sometimes people unintentionally deceive us. It's not like a malicious thing. It's just like, sometimes we're allowed to believe something that isn't really true, or sometimes we jump to a conclusion and just decide that it's true without really having the evidence before us. So these are both 2-hour aspects, and that's the advice. Avoid oversharing, and don't just trust your hunches at that time between 6 and 8. Look for evidence, or give it time to give the truth time to reveal itself. All right, coming up tomorrow morning, very early, 2:17 a.m. is the full moon in Virgo. So if you want to stay up to see the culmination of the full moon, I would stay up tonight to see it at 2:17 in the morning tomorrow morning, or get up in the middle of the night to see it. But otherwise, again, we have this this nice space of time before and after, about 3 days surrounding the culmination of the full moon, called the full of the moon, when we can celebrate the culmination of our goals, or the partial culmination of our goals. We can celebrate what we have attained and achieved. And we could do it, because Virgo's here in a very orderly fashion that's focused on healing and making things better. And then also coming up tomorrow, Venus is going to make a sextile with Chiron, and the Sun is going to make a sextile with Pluto, and then Venus is going to make a square with Uranus. So tomorrow is really a very active day, especially in terms of Venus. Remember, Uranus is in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus right now. So we've got these shifting foundations themes with our sense of receptivity in the world, and this is going to be cooperative functioning with our ability to heal, and this is going to be cooperative, the Sun in cooperative energy with our ability to see the transformations that are coming. And then Venus square Uranus is going to actually be a less cooperative vibe, more of a challenging vibe, our sense of receptivity with our ability to shift and make changes. So we're not always completely receptive to the changes that we need to make, even if we know that they're for the better, and that's kind of what we're going to discuss at that time. Then coming up on Sunday, the Sun will make ingress to Aries, so we will no longer be in Pisces. Jupiter and Neptune will remain in Pisces a while. Neptune will be there until 2026. Jupiter is going to leave in May and come back for October and November. And then Mercury is going to move out of Pisces in April. But the Sun will move out of Pisces and into Aries on Sunday, and then we can celebrate the spring equinox and the fresh springing to life of the whole world at this time, and get into that mode of Aries initiative. Yes. And then also on Sunday, Mercury is going to make a conjunct with Jupiter, right? They've been hanging out in the same sign. Mercury moves a lot faster than Jupiter, so it was bound to sort of just come around and align with Jupiter, and it probably will align with Neptune at some point as well. So that's what's coming up, and that's the aspects for today. Thank you all so much for being here. If you're still with me 18 minutes in, I sure appreciate your time and attention. And if you have any thoughts when you see this, if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I like to hear from you guys, and I'm always happy to respond. Also, if you're here, go ahead and like my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell. I post every day, and I wouldn't want you to miss a thing. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and shift into talking a little bit of tarot. We're going to talk about the tarot card on the side of the page, and then I'm going to put down a tarot card that just represents the energies for today. So the tarot card on the side of the page right now is the Ten of Cups, and this relates to the last 10 days of the Sun's transit through Pisces. So when the Sun enters Aries, after that we're going to go to a different set of, a different card, and a different, a suit. We're going to move into Wands because it's going to be in fire. But right now, Ten of Cups, this is really... Nine of Cups, we had the emotional satisfaction card. So emotional satisfaction is great. This really represents fulfillment, like really joyous happiness, fulfillment, the sense of unity and connection with ourselves, with our partners, or with our friends and families, and also in the community. And it's wonderful, when it's not just us that feels that, but when, it's felt in the friend circle, in the family, and in the community. That's the Ten of Cups sense of unity. This is, this really says that you have worked hard at creating the life that you feel that you can celebrate and express. And you can look at it all and say, look how well this is going for me. I feel not just happy, I'm not just satisfied, but happy, joyous, and entirely contented with what I have created. It's also the end of a cycle, Ten of Cups. So, next you're going to move into another one. And so it's going to be a beginning. So this is like a culmination point. And I love that with this culmination point and these culmination points over here too, because Sun is leaving Pisces at the same time that these two aspects that have been riding with us for several weeks are going to leave Pisces, leave us as well. So it's really a culmination point at this time. The next few days, we're probably going to be feeling these energies very strongly, and really appreciate that sense of unity and satisfaction with your creation, contentment and joy while you have it, while you can. Appreciate the things that you have. Appreciate what you have achieved, what you have attained, what you have attracted to yourself and been able to pursue as well. Appreciate your ability to make these positive changes as well, because you're seeing the positive results from it. And now I'm going to go ahead and mix up my cards a little while I remind myself and the cards that the Sun is in Pisces for a few days yet. Neptune and Jupiter have been in Pisces, and they're Pisces co-ruling planets. So it's really intensified that creative, playful, relaxed, and reflective effect of Pisces. And Mercury is in Pisces as well, which adds color to our thoughts and plans, if not directness to our communications. And the waxing crescent nearly full moon in Virgo is upon us. The full moon, if you stay up till 2:17 a.m. tomorrow morning, if you stay up tonight, you'll be able to see the culmination point. And it's a time of celebration, reflecting on what we have created, what we have garnered for ourselves, what we have been able to do in the culmination of our desires, our needs, and our goals. So that's a great thing. And in Virgo, it's a really, there's a focus sort of on organization, on sorting things out, on helping one another, mending fences, that kind of thing. And Mercury sextile Uranus will be with us for a couple of days, and it's a little detour from the day to day where we can, get some fresh ideas and inspiration. It's not the kind of fresh ideas and inspiration that you necessarily turn within for, okay? This is not about reaching into your intuitive practices. It's really more about communicating in a creative way with your conscious self and with others, just about different ways of doing things, getting a little unorthodox, getting a little off the beaten path with our thoughts and ideas so that we can make refreshing changes in our lives. The Sun conjunct Mars, we know what we want and we know how to get it. These complementary opposites generate a lot of potential outcomes for us. So when you see, that expanded list of opportunities for yourself, keep your goals in mind so that you know exactly what it is, you can narrow down the field to what it is you're going to choose. And then Jupiter sextile Uranus says, good fortune with changes for the better. So I love that for us. And on the moon side, these are not really negative. They're just sort of warnings not to overshare, not to smother people with generosity, and also not to just assume that we know things at this time, to rely on evidence and not just trust our hunches. And with that said, I'm going to turn this card. Cups and cups, friends. I think we got wands yesterday or the day before. So, water and water. This is emotional satisfaction. This is halfway there, right? 1 through 10, and here we are at 5. So this is a point at which some emotional investment was made, and some of it got spilled. There was an accident or a disaster, or maybe somebody intentionally, hurt our feelings and kicked over our cups of intuitive, creative goodness, our cups of emotion. Anyway, there's an era of mourning about this card, specifically just looking at the investment you've made, the emotional investment and the creative investment you've made in something, and seeing it having sort of been turned over, and there's no getting back a certain part of it. However, the two other cups are still there and they're still upright. So we have to turn our attention, or at some point, I mean, it's appropriate to mourn what you have lost, but at some point, it's also a positive thing to turn your attention to the start on emotional joy, on emotional satisfaction that you have, and to, there's even sort of an idea that you could get it back. Okay, you've got the seed there, you did this work, perhaps that work is wasted, you're going to have to go back and do some work, but you do still have the resources to do it. The emotional resources, the creative and intuitive resources. When our emotional life gets distracted by grief, sometimes it's hard for us to see what we have in terms of our ability to move forward, but it's there. And we just have to turn around and put our eyes on it. And then we'll remember the work that we did and how much easier it's going to be for us to do the next time. And I think that's all I have to say about that right now. Thank you all so much for being here with me. I do appreciate you showing up every day. My name is Mel Rose, and I will see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today.